Yeah, no, the views aren't the same. Like, the Paleo Dragoon update didn't do that well, but I did only change a few cards and it was kind of new. I decided to do Metal Foe support, but then Climie decided to go and make new Metal Foe support. So do I wait for the new Metal Foe support to come out, or do I deck profile now? Or do I just wait? The Penguin support I messed up because I didn't get the timings right, so now I've got to wait for the Penguin support to come out. I don't know what to do. I could do Eldritch, but that's been done to death. Yeah. What do you mean go back to my roots? What roots do I have? Like, I don't have any roots. I'm just a small YouTuber. Like, no, I don't have any roots. You know what? I'll call you back. Hi guys, FreakyFishGuy here with another video for you today. This time we're looking at Nimble Frog True King. Going back to my water roots, guys, I've been playtesting a lot of different water decks and I expect a lot of different water decks coming up in the future, including fish, sharks. Marine Cess is coming back, guys. Nimble, Frog, Paleo, as always, bit of Mermail. I'm playing a lot of water because why not? As you may have saw from my last video, locals has pretty much been like just outlawed and banned in my area, just because of the UK with its coronavirus situation. Yes, I said the C word. Calm down. Very effectively, I'm not going to be playing locals for a while, so expect less content from locals. We had one locals in 6 months, which I'm very lucky to have, but otherwise, there's going to be no locals replays coming up until the foreseeable future. So instead, I went and played Combo Frogs, because why not? Like I said before, I've been playing this online on Dueling Book, but I'm getting pretty bored of that, so I thought I'd actually show you the real life cards for once. So a bit of background on the deck. It was very popular when Diagram was at free, as sort of a locals meme deck. I remember someone at my locals called Zavi, shout out to him, played this deck, piloted it quite well. I picked it up recently just because I've always been wanting to test with the Nimble engine. It does play a little bit like Mermail, which is kind of interesting because I like Mermail and I also don't like Mermail. So this is quite a fun deck because again it uses the toads and the frogs more importantly, and it uses a bit more of a side water archetype known as the Nimbles, which don't see a lot of play. And they are actually very broken. I'm surprised they haven't been included more in other decks. But otherwise, guys, we're going to get into the profile and I'll show you some combos as well at the end. Moving on now to the main deck, guys. There will be combos at the end of this, so if you just want to skip and watch some combo boards, I do some test hands. I literally just draw 5 cards and see what happens. There's no like linear combo I need to show you. It's very make up your mind as you go, which is very fun. I like that sort of thing with a deck. So moving on to the monsters, we've got 3 Nimble Angler. This card is busted, and I mean busted. When it's sent to the grave via hand or deck, you can special summon 2 Nimble monsters from your deck, except Nimble Angler. Not once per turn, the key thing is there, guys. So the amount of times you dump this is the amount of times you get to summon 2 more monsters. It just spirals and snowballs as you basically just dump more Nimbles onto the board. It is a fish as well, which is kind of cool because that does come up importantly later on. All the Nimbles apart from Manta are different types. This one shares with Manta. The Beaver though is a beast. Not once per turn. Get 2 free link materials on board. Very, very nice card. Nimble Beaver, when it's normal summoned, you can special summon a Nimble from your deck. This used to be good in Orcus, believe it or not, back when Mermaid was a thing, because there was some Nimble Orcus decks going around, because you normal summon this, summon an Angler, and then you go into like Orcus combo, and if you wanted to like discard the Angler for like a danger, you got like 2 free material for 2 Beaver. So this was actually kind of cool. It wasn't wildly successful. I didn't see a lot of play, but I did see it online a few years ago, which is kind of nice. This is basically just there, either normal summon it, dump the Angler, or you can just special summon it off the Angler anyway. 1 proxy, I'm sorry, I do not have a 3rd Nimble Manta. I've been trying to find them as best I can. I've even been scouring the Facebook pages and eBay, and no one just has this card basically for a good enough price. Nimble Manta is really, really simple. If it's sent from the field to the grave by a card effect, you get to summon up to as many Nimble Anglers Mantas as you want. So basically you send this from field to grave via effect, which you do have some ways of doing, and it summons 2 more Manta from deck. That's done. So you go dump Angler, summon a Beaver, summon a Manta. If you need to send then the Manta to grave via card effect, you can summon 2 more Manta. So now suddenly you've gone 1 monster into 2 into 3. You can use this effect via things like Diagram, Bahastros, are the 2 main ones that we use. Or you can do the Fire True King as well, Agnisimund, whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that name. The Fire True King, you can also use that as long as you use another fire as well. Basically, you just snowball materials out for free. To go with this, then we are playing our Froggy Boys. I'm very sad that they lost the poll. I'm sorry, Voton, but I think Frogs did deserve it more. I'm a little bit salty. I'm not gonna lie, everyone's gonna be salty. Like, this whole poll thing was a bit of a mistake in my opinion, because everyone wants to pick their favorite card, and it's not the way they should have done it. Everyone now is trying to like basically get their deck to get the support, and they're gonna start arguing on Facebook and stuff and online. So I'm upset Frogs didn't win the poll, but I'm still happy that I can play them. So yeah, Swap Frog's really nice. You can discard a water, special summon it. You can discard the Angler, which will then trigger its effect. It's not like Atlanteans. This actually does work. Summon you 2 more. You can send, obviously, your Frogs, or you can send my boy Testudo. If you know me, you know I love Testudo. To the grave. Bounce it back to hand, do it again, normal summon it, etc. Makes Toad, make a few Link monsters, very nice. A little bit of a Garnet. We are playing 3 Dupe Frog. Not a massive Garnet, because you can activate Diagram, normal summon this, pop this on the field. Diagram will then add, and then this will add. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I know it's a when, but I'm pretty sure that is a legal thing to do. If not, let me know down in the comments. I've never actually done it, but I've read that it does work, so it's alright. And then obviously 1 Ronin Toad as well to make some Link fodder, to make some Toad, because Toad's now back at 2, so we can actually play Toad Turbo. It's very nice. Really nice card, really nice engine. 3 Genix Undyne and 1 Genix Controller. On normal summon, you can just send a water monster to the grave to add a Genix Controller. Dump Angler, dump a Frog that you need, dump Testudo. There's loads of things you can do with this engine, and it's actually kind of nice. It also, this is a tuner, so you could go the Rosenix engine, but we're not doing that unfortunately today. Basically, you dump Rosenix, summon a token, make Link Spider, and then summon this from your hand to go into Needle Fiber combos. We're not playing Needle Fiber, but it's something you can do with this deck. Of course, it's my boy. Still shout outs to Matt Peskett for giving me this. The Testudo Arachneum. This card is insanely good, and I love it. It's basically Vanity's Fiend, for those who don't know, in a sort of weird way. Neither player can summon monsters of 1800 or more attack. Really simple. Check out my Marine Cess Frog deck profile and my regionals report, where I basically just blew out Orcust and Salaman Great players, because I summoned this under a Coran enemy. They couldn't summon Sonic Wolf, they couldn't summon Galatei, and they just looked at me with a frowny face. This card's nuts. I love it. It's a 1-for-1 target. You can send this off Swap Frog because it's a level 2 or lower Aqua, so you can go Swap Frog, send this, summon back Coran enemy using the Ronin Totem. And then you can go into Coran enemy, summon this in defense, and now they can't swing over your Coran enemy. Really nice card. It isn't as good as it used to be, because now we have things like droplets, we have things like Dark Ruler No More is being played a lot because of the meta, so it has lost its ability to be an auto win, but it is still really nice thing you can drop on your opponent if they aren't expecting it. 3 True King Bahastros. This card is insanely good. I'm very happy to finally have some more again. Pop 2 waters in hand or field. Special summon this card. If it was both waters popped, you can banish 2 spells and traps your opponent controls. You can also pop 1 water, 1 non-water monster, and you can still summon it. You just don't get the banish effect. If this card is destroyed, you get to special summon a different True King from your deck that isn't water, so for that we're playing the Fire True King. The same effect as Bahastros, you have to pop 2 fire or 1 fire, 1 non-fire. And if it is summoned by using 2 fire monsters, then you get to banish a monster your opponent controls. Really, really nice card effects. This one rarely comes up with both fire effects. This is just a target for Bahastros, but we are playing some more targets for this. If this is pop, you basically add one of these back to your hand from graveyard, so it's not really the most relevant effect. But the thing is, they are both level 9, they are searchable by diagram. This triggers your anglers as well, which is really, really, really nice. It also triggers your mantas while they're on board, so you can go normal summon manta if you really need to. Bahastros, discard the angler and pop the manta on board. Summon a Bahastros, you're then getting a manta from the manta, and you're getting 2 other nimbles from your angler, so you're going 4 monsters on the board off of 1 effect, which is really, really nice. For some fire targets for Agamemnon, we are playing Nine-Tailed Fox. This card is good. I was testing this in Dinos a long time ago, because you can go like UTC, pop this in hand, and get 2 tokens. It's alright, it's not the best, it's not the worst. But the thing is, it's a fire monster, so if you pop it with Agamemnon, the Fire True King, if you pop it with this, then you get 2 tokens on your board, which is really, really nice, because we all know what tokens make. It goes into Link fodder. You can make a Link Spider, go into Appaloosa with the Link Spider. You can go into Griffin just for free, because their tokens is really, really nice. Really nice card. It also works with Diagram. You can pop it with Diagram and start snowballing that way. Our hand trap lineup, we are playing 3 Gamma, 1 Driver. It does suck to draw the Driver, but Gamma is very, very good this format. especially with things like diagram. You do desperately want your diagram to resolve. So say if they ash your diagram, you can make Gamma live, which then also Gamma is now a 1-card Dragoon, because obviously this makes Vert. You do have to sort of work with your link players around it, but it's a really, really nice card, and it can stop your opponent in their turn. Yugioh's in a weird place right now. The combo decks are very, very, very resilient to hand traps. So Dragon Link, Invincible, they can play around multiple hand traps. So the 1 Gamma isn't the best, but it's the best we've got. You could play Ash as well to be another fire tricking target. I'm just preferring Gamma because it works in my turn as well. To protect my diagram, to protect my 1-for-1, to protect things like Foolish Burial. There's loads of things you can do with this. Last 2 monsters we are playing the 2 garnets for the Dragoon engine, Red Eyes, Black Dragon and Dark Magician. They're just there for Dragoon, we don't really need to talk about them. Moving on to spells, we're playing 1 Dragonic Diagram. It does hurt that it's still at 1. If it was at 3, this deck would be a lot more popular in my opinion. At the moment it's kind of a fun locals deck. If you're really brave, you could take it to regionals and try and come in out of nowhere, but a lot of people are preparing for combo decks at the moment, so it's not the best thing to take competitively. However, it's a really fun thing to play at your locals if you do have a locals and you want to play combo frogs, because frogs has been a very control deck for the past sort of 5 years with Paleo. However, they do have the ability to combo in things like Momo and also in a Nimble. Diagram's really easy, just pop a card, basically add a True King. You can either pop a Angler in hand, you can pop a Frog on the board, you can pop Duke Frog, you can pop Manta. There's loads of things you can do with this, and you can also pop your True Kings if you need to. If you open 2 Bahastros, you can pop a Bahastros to add another Bahastros. The Bahastros in grave will then trigger to summon a level 9 Fire True King, and then you can go into VFD that way. 1 Terraforming, because Diagram's at 1, we want to search it. You could also play Set Rotation, but I'm not. 1-for-1, at the end of your combo, you can basically just summon a Testudo for free. There's no other level 1 targets we are playing. 1 Foolish Burial, because it sends Nimble Angler. 1 Red Eyes Fusion, because it's Dragoon combo, don't really need to explain it. Don't really want to open it, that's why we're playing a 1-off. And then finally, 1 Solemn Judgment. This could be any 1-off trap you want to play. You could play Solemn Judgment, you could play Imperial Order, you could play Summon Limit, something I was testing. You could play Dimensional Fissure to stop the Dragoon play. This is there for the Curious Griffin combo. You dump it to grave with Curious, you set it with Griffin. Sometimes I play, I side in things like Imperial Order if I'm playing against like Striker or something. If I'm playing against Invincible and Dragon Link, I side in Summon Limit. There's a lot of good cards you can play. This is just the most generic one that I know will always be relevant no matter what the matchup. I can stop a key spell, I can stop a summon, I can stop Lightning Storm, droplets as well. Droplets is a good thing to stop with this, so you can play whatever you like. At the moment I'm playing Judgment, although you can play, like I said, other targets. Moving on now to the extra deck, guys. This is where all the funky things happen. We are playing 1 Curious because this is probably the most important card in the deck. You can set this up very simply with the Nimble engine because they are mostly different types. Genix Controller, Send Angler, Summon Manta, Summon Beaver. That's 3 different types. That's immediately a Curious combo. You can send things like the Judgment. You can send another Angler to trigger its effect. You can send your Testudo to summon back with Core and Enemy. There's lots of different things you can do with this and Frogs. You will be milling 3. But if you send Angler, you can go Chenlink 1 to mill, Chenlink 2 Angler to summon. So you still get your targets in deck and then just summon mill 3 extra cards. On top of this, we're playing 1 Appaloosa. You can play like any generically good link. So this could be an access code talker. You don't really need the Appaloosa. It's just nice to have some more negates because you are vomiting so much onto the board. You can probably just make one for free with 2 negates or 3 or 4 if your combo revolves around it. 1 Griffin. This is just free in this deck because it's basically just 2 monsters. So you like use a token plus Curious, you use an Angler plus any Nimble, and you basically just get a Griffin. The skill drain effect is kind of iffy in this deck because you do need to position your monsters now. So like your Dragoon, your VFD, you need to position around this. So there's a little bit of play you need to do, but it does set your floodgate from your graveyard. 1 Vert Anaconda to obviously go into the Dragoon. You make it at the end of your combo, pay 2k, send Red Eyes Fusion, summon the Dragoon. Dragoon is okay. It's a really, really good card, but sometimes you don't really have the discard fodder. You see, in one of my combos, I opened, unfortunately, the Dark Magician. If that was any other card, I would have had a live Red Eyes negate. Unfortunately, it was Dark Magician, so I just had to basically have a Towers on board. 1 Link Spider. This is there for the 9-tailed fox, just to get me a effect monster out of the token, because obviously some of the things like Vert and Conda need effect monsters. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, generic back row removal, which is very nice. 1 Trisbania, even better back row removal. You can set this up again very easily against Eldritch as well. This is very, very good because you just wipe their back row. Borosword, because I'm too poor for Access Code Talker, and Borosword is still a really, really good card. It beats over things like Dragoon. 1 Borolo Dragon, because again it steals things like Dragoon and it just outs things that are problematic. Link 4s in this deck are really, really, really easy to make. They're not a heavy investment. Access Code is, because you need a lot of Link monsters in grave, which this deck can still do. So if you have Access Code Talker, please do still play that. 1 of my babies, Marincess Coral, an enemy. I love this card. Basically, you just summon any 1500 or less water monster from your grave. You're locked into water for the rest of that turn once you use this effect. So up until this point, you're not locked into water. Basically, you use this to summon back like a frog if you want to make Toad. In my case, I summon back Testudo to his own it points to, and then they can't summon anything bigger. So you can make things like your big board and then summon a Testudo underneath, which is always really nice. Really free to make. If you have 2 leftover Nimbles and a Testudo in grave, might as well go for it. He's back! We're playing 2 Toad. I'm very happy this card is at 2. This should be at 3. If you want to go watch my Paleo Dragoon profile, I'll go basically hype over this being at 2. It needs to be at 3, but then this deck kind of only needs to play 2. You only really make 1 in your opening combo, and then afterwards you can make some more with your dupe frogs that you summon from the deck and your Ronotones that you just detach for cost effectively. Really, really nice card. There's a lot of ability to recycle water monsters in this deck. You can add back like a Bahastros if you need a big beater. Loads of things you can do. I'm really happy it's back. 1 VFD, 1 True King with all calamities. Yes, this card is kind of unfair. It may be hit on a ban list at some point in its life, but at the moment it's still at 3, which is a win-loss situation. This card's kind of nice. We've all seen Murmur doing it. We've seen Dino doing it. We all know what this card does. Basically make it the hard way with 2 level 9 True Kings in this deck. The other effect a lot of people know about is while it's on board, you can destroy your opponent's monsters to use your True King effects in hand. So say if you're playing against like Dino or Mermail or whatever, and they have some the relevant attributes on the field, you can use Bahastros in hand to pop their water monsters on board and then summon it that way. The next spot and our last spot in the extra deck is for Phantom Fortress. This card is actually really, really nice. It is a rank 9 XYZ that has the following effect. Detach 1, banish a card from your opponent's hand, grave, their control, or from the top of the deck face down. Realistically, you're only really going to be either going for the top one to banish a card from your opponent's field. This is Ultra Dragoon. It does not target, which is really, really nice. Yes, they can negate it with Dragoon, but you've hopefully baited out the negates for things like Borosword and this point, etc. Or they've maybe try to stop your combo. Yeah, really, really nice card. You can also, if you're going first, if you don't want to make the VFD or you're playing against a deck that VFD doesn't do anything, i.e. Striker, you can just play this and basically hand loop your opponent for 1 by banishing card out of their hand. Usually I just make the True King Calamities instead. This next bit, guys, is a massive shout out to someone I've been talking to a lot about Frog Theory and Paleo on the Facebook group. He very, very kindly decided to make me some tokens and they're really, really good. Shout out to Jason. These are amazing and insanely high quality. I was actually surprised at how quality they are. We've got a Toad token and obviously the frog lineup. As someone who loves frogs, these are amazing. This little bit here is actually my sleeve, ignore that. These cards are amazing, and also with the way Yugioh is at the moment, you are going to need some tokens on the board because your opponent can't touch your cards, you can't touch your opponent's cards. Easiest thing to do, so if you like Ice Barrier Prison, some of their cards in grave, you just slap down a token and say this is this card. It's very, very simple. You see it from my matches at locals. Tokens are going to be an important part of the format as well. Also, these are really nice to play with my 9-tailed fox because it fits the theme. Okay, we don't have any 9 fox tokens on the board. We can just slap down 2 frogs and say these are the tokens. Really, really high quality. I suggest if you want them, you shout out this guy. If there's a lot of interest, comment below if you really, really want one. If there's a lot of interest, I can actually get into contact with Jason and he may, if he wants to, start to sell them. It's up to him, but if you do want some, please hit me up in the comments below. I can get you in contact with him that way. Otherwise, guys, I'm not going to showcase you a whole side deck just because at the moment I'm actually moving back from side decks in these profiles because I am not playing meta games in person, so I'm not really getting the full feel. Yes, I'm playing some online games, but that way I'm just basically swapping cards as I need them. The best suggestions, though, I do have, instead of a full side deck, I'm going to give you 1 Super Poly, because it's an Ultra Dragoon. This deck does not inherently have a big Ultra Dragoon, so this card is kind of nice. So if you desperately need to Ultra Dragoon, you will have to also side some Super Poly targets, so things like Mud Dragon, Starving Venom, Predator Plant, Dragostapelia are the best options at the moment. One, Lava Golem. This can play without its normal summon, just because you can go Diagram, Pop, Angler, and go off that way. Realistically, the only desperate normal summon you really want is Genex Undyne. That is the only normal summon, plus Beaver, I guess, that you really need to play. You can still just special Frogs, you can go Angler combos, you can go True King combos. There's a lot of things you can do without your normal summon. Memes, Diamond Dust. Yeah, this deck does combo. And in the format at the moment where combo decks do combo for like 10, maybe 15 minutes, you can go to time in game 3. This is a one-off that you don't have to play, but I'm playing it for meme value. You send this off Curious, set it with Griffin. In their turn, when time's called in their main phase, you can go, oh, unlucky, negate all their things, and then pop this up in the end of their main phase. Destroy your like last remaining Angler on board or whatever, your last like Frogs, your Toads. Burn them for like 1,000, 15, and then you have game that way. Realistically, though, you really want to side in powerful Floodgates. So Imperial Order, you swap in for the Solemn Judgment if you're playing things like Striker, because it's an auto win versus Striker, and then you stop them from removing that with things like Nightmare, Phoenix, etc. with your actual monster negates. Can go things like Macrocosmos, then that would work against things like Dragon League, Summon Limit, anything you really, really want to play. You can set the Super Poly off of a Griffin, which is kind of interesting if you're playing against like Orcust, and you know they're going to be making the 2 Darks on board. You can just basically stop their turn that way. If you have any suggestions though for side deck, please leave a comment below. I'm going to show you a quick 2 combos. If you want to skip ahead, that is fine. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.